today with my husband and harpsichordist Tom Allery, who's also the harpsichordist of Ensemble Hesbury. How are you, Tom?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent. Well, this week we are looking forward to Sunday the 21st of March, which is European Day of Early Music. And this was created in 2013, so not very long ago. But ever since, it has been a day of celebration, innovation and coming together of everyone involved in early music. And it's very much organised by REMA, the European Early Music Network, which is a fantastic organisation, and we've worked really hard to bring everyone together in early music through summits, conferences, concerts, all sorts of different things. So do take a look at their website, it's really fantastic. And this weekend, like the last few years, they have encouraged people to put on a concert to celebrate Early Music Day. And so you can go onto their Facebook page and they're advertising all sorts of different kind of concerts that their members are putting on. And of course they're online this year, so you can go and find concerts anywhere in Europe and I think beyond. So are you going to find anything this weekend?
I definitely will. I'm finding it quite exciting at the moment. I mean, even though we've been in the sort of pandemic time for a year now, it's wonderful, isn't it, being able to actually more easily see things from all over the world.
Yeah.
And see what colleagues are doing everywhere.
It's great, and of course, you know, we have friends and colleagues in Europe as well, and it's wonderful to be able to see what they're doing, because of course we do chat to them a bit, but you know, to be able to see what what projects they're managing to put on. There was a period when we weren't allowed to do any concerts here, but they did have some concerts in Germany and in the Netherlands, I think, and so that was lovely to be, although we were jealous, but it was nice to be able to see music happening somewhere, wasn't it? And I think, I don't know, the digital world has brought us together a lot in that way, particularly during the pandemic. And this is a really good thing. So, for example, we can take inspiration from a project that we've seen online. You know, I'm sure that you've watched a lot of videos recently, sort of early music themed, which have really inspired you, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people have also been kind of confident to put on more material online, where perhaps they were not so keen before the pandemic. And so it's wonderful to be able to share that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Tom started his own YouTube channel. Do check it out. And it's kind of, you know, it's a nice way to sort of think, I can really find my niche now. And then, of course, everyone else's niches are sort of joined up, and you can sort of see everything a bit more clearly, because, of course, you know, with the best will in the world, we can only travel around so much. And so, yeah, just the online networking has been really good, and I hope that stays.
Yeah, I think it's also come from like a feeling of support somehow.
Oh yeah.
I think people are so genuinely happy to see friends and colleagues putting on concerts, putting on various different things, putting on split screen projects, collaborating with different things, coming together in different ways, different forums. And I think it's come from that feeling of support.
Yeah, rather sort of shared creativity rather than a competitiveness. And I think that's something that the early music world does really well, actually. We're much more friendly towards each other, don't you think?
Well, and lots of different people are working together, whether it be editors, whether it be performers, promoters, singers, instrumentalists, recording artists. There's a lot of people who cross over both of those boundaries. Yeah,
and of course the early music world is not just professional musicians, which is what's really special about it. So, you know, we include you, the fans, in the early music world, and that's been, again, a fantastic thing to get to know so many new viewers and listeners in person. I mean, our live streams have been very much kind of that sort of vibe, Tom, you know.
They've been fantastic for that. I think that's one of the really wonderful things about this sort of digital time, meeting people from all over the world, actually, who are interested in early music.
Yeah, and just starting conversations. So, you know, someone might catch our live stream and we play a particular piece of music, and then they say, oh, you know, that's really interesting, I didn't know about that composer. And then they might know something that you don't know, and you can share knowledge.
Yeah,
and that's just really inspirational, and it's kept a lot of us going, I think.
I think it has, and yes, particularly that idea of sharing knowledge and people saying, oh, actually, do you know this, do you know that, or this version, this edition, or this particular manuscript, whatever level it's at.
Yeah,
it's
and
really
you can save the day, can't it, sometimes?
Yeah, fantastic.
If you've lost a piece of music or something, I mean, it does happen. You've lost something in your house and you just kind of go, oh, it's not available online, and then you just post something online saying, does anyone have a copy of whatever it is? And, if you've got lots of friends all across Europe, then someone will have it, which is great.
And I think that's one of the interesting things about this sort of idea of a community of musicians throughout the world. Sharing resources online, sharing scores online, even looking at originals, even looking at facsimiles. Isn't it just amazing how easy it is now to be able to actually see a facsimile score online in a composer's own hand, because so many libraries across the world have digitised many of their collections, and within a couple of clicks you can actually be looking at an original manuscript.
And that's very exciting.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of you will know about the sites IMSLP, free music scores. They're just brilliant. The principle of it, some debate it, but actually for performers it's completely amazing to be able to see the composer's hand or a copyist's hand. That can be even
often various versions
various different versions. You can compare them. So say we were in rehearsal and we were a bit unsure as to what was on the page in an edition, and we could go back to the original. We could just pop online, have a look at it often, and make our own decisions, and that's really good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And lots of libraries have, even away from IMSLP, have put their own versions online, their own collections online.
So many libraries have now digitised. So again, this has been a very, a way of bringing the early music world together for performers and also for interested people across the world. It's just fantastic.
I'm really interested in how there's an incredible sort of overlap between the people who are doing the editing, the making editions, the curating, and they're often the same people that are doing the performing.
Yeah.
There's not a kind of disconnect there with I'm a performer, so-and-so's an editor, so-and-so's a composer. There's quite a variety of people who are in all of these areas.
And a lot of research, really, dedicated and personal, very, very, almost beautiful research happening.
Yeah, and we had this actually, didn't we, with the piece we're about to play.
So we're going to play you some Telemann now, and this is a second movement from his Nouvelle Sonatine collection, which you might not recognise. It was published in 1730 or thereabouts, and Telemann, of course, produced parts, as you can imagine, but unfortunately for many, many decades only the solo line had survived in a library in Copenhagen, so that was very intriguing for people. We knew there was a sonata, but you only had one line. We hadn't got the bass part, and as Tom knows, bass part's pretty important. So some people made an edition, didn't they? There's been a few editions of it.
And they added their own bass part. I mean, actually, it's a very common thing in editing music, when there's often so many pieces we know well have a bass part missing and inner line missing. And so we have a version available with a created bass line, several versions with created bass line.
And that's great. But then, very fortunately, a couple of decades ago, a copy was found of the full sonata in Dresden, and now that has been made digitally available, so we are able to play the full sonata with the bass line as intended. And what's very funny is that sometimes being used to the invented edition bass line, I feel, oh gosh, it's wrong. But it's not wrong, it's definitely what Telemann wrote. So, that's an example of how all this fantastic network and digital availability has really helped us to play repertoire that we wouldn't have been able to play before. So anyway, here's some Telemann. Hope you enjoy it. Well, thanks for joining us today to celebrate the Early Music Day 2021. It's been rather nice to think about the early music community, and of course the Early Music Shop is a very, very important part of that community in the UK and beyond. And I'm told that there are some promotions this weekend online on the Early Music website, so do check those out. Next week, we are going to be talking about the rather interesting composer Francesco Gimignani, fantastic violinist, really interesting guy, who wrote a whole load of interesting treatises and really cool interpretations of Scots tunes. See you then.